Hi guys, Dave here from Wolf in the Wild Survival. Today, we're going to talk about a birch tree. This is the white birch, also known as the paper birch. It's probably the most useful birch tree in my area, although we do have yellow birch and we have cherry birch, also called black birch, but the paper birch is generally what I look for when I'm in the woods. Obvious reason, fire. Birch bark makes a very, very good fire starter. It is the best tinder in my area. Birch trees have a resin in them that is present in the bark, and it allows the bark to burn fairly hot and relatively quick, and it takes a spark from a ferro rod like that. So very, very useful, and you can harvest a lot without actually hurting the tree, because the paper birch sheds its bark all the time. It's always making new bark and shedding the old stuff. It's kind of like people skin in that respect. So as long as you only peel off the stuff that is relatively easy to get to, you're not going to hurt the tree. I'm going to save that because this is gold where I am. Okay, now it's unfortunately, I don't see any chaga grows on birch trees. And if you're familiar with my videos at all, you'll be familiar with chaga as well. And nope, don't see none. You're gonna find chaga on about 1 every 500 to 1,000 birch trees, so you really got to look. But chaga is, they call it true fire tinder. It really does help get a fire going. If you don't have a lighter or a ferro rod, you can do a hand drill into a big piece of chaga and get a fire going fairly easily. Personally, I prefer not to do that because it is a food resource. It is a superfood. It makes an excellent tea. It is incredibly healthy for you. And in a situation on a winter time, winter day like today, that kind of resource you can't just burn. So I don't use it as fire because it grows on birch trees. I don't need, so I already have my fire tinder. Also, in the springtime, while people are harvesting maple sap to make maple syrup, you can do the same thing with birch trees. And just drinking plain old birch water, very, very healthy for you. Really good for you. Lots of vitamin A and I think C and a bunch of really good for you. And it's a great way to hydrate without having to constantly boil and purify water, because this stuff here straight out of the tree, you can drink it no problem. Or you can boil it down and make a syrup out of it that's not as sweet as maple syrup, but it's still pretty tasty. So you have that option as well. So very recognizable, noticeable tree from a long distance off, especially in the summertime where there's not a lot of white. And fire tinder, chaga, drinkable vitamin water, basically. This is a great tree to know about. And very few trees in my neck of the woods are as useful or as noticeable as the old paper birch. So if you have birch trees in your area, you might want to get familiar with them. Because food source, I almost forgot food source. They are a food source, and Okay, so there are no young ones, and the branches are quite high. But in the spring, and it's not quite springtime anyway, but in the spring, pretend this is a birch tree. You get these buds on the end of the trees. They're edible, and they're very good for you with a birch tree. The young leaves are also, if you get them really, really quickly, they're also edible, but the shoots are better. So, a food source, clean, drinkable, vitamin water, fire, and chaga. Where are you going to find a better deal than that? Northern Canada, Boreal Forest area. So, yeah, that's basically it for this video then. So, thanks for coming out doing this with me, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a good one, guys.
Ha 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 ha.